Jason Rogers, and he's the head of the voting bureau on St. Martin, and this year we haven't once more again another election, and that's scheduled for February the 26th, which is Monday upcoming. Mr. Rogers, I want you to explain us so far. Everything is up to date. I know during the hurricane you had some material stuff to work with that get damaged during the hurricane, right? How is that stand now? Everything is into place, ready for the election?
Well, indeed, we've suffered some damages as a result of the passing of Hurricane Irma and Maria. We've had all of our materials that we use for elections. So from voting booths down to everything, down to the pencils that we use for election, we had everything stored in a container, and that container was actually blown away. We had it situated next to the old census office building, where everyone knows, and it was blown. It ended up actually into the pond, and then afterwards it was actually put, from what I understood, to parts were found in the festival village, as a matter of fact. So indeed, we suffered a lot of damages. We could not, if we would have had an election right away, then we could have not facilitated that because we didn't have any materials. And that was one of the things that we as a Central Voting Bureau advised the Minister of General Affairs of, and also the Parliament of St. Martin. In the meantime, we were indeed able to order new materials. So we have new voting booths, new voting bins, new materials. Every single thing is new. They arrived, they've been set up to a certain extent in order to see how they would look when they're set up. So as of Friday, tomorrow, we will be starting with the setting up of the voting booths. As you know, we're using a number of schools as polling stations. So school is up until tomorrow. So after school, we'll be starting in setting up those booths, and some on Saturday too. And we're going to be doing some inspecting on Saturday afternoon and Sunday as well, inspecting the various polling stations. We have 20 polling stations on St. Martin, and we will be inspecting them in order to see if the voting booths are put up in accordance with the legislation, because there is, in the legislation, it stipulates exactly how a voting booth actually should look.
Now you have something like 2,000 voting cards that return back to the post office. What is going to happen to those cards? That you have a plan that the people would come and pick them up where they are, or you're going to be able to find where those people are to get the cards to them?
Okay, so we have in total 22,559 eligible voters that were eligible at the moment that we closed the voters registry back in December. And of course, persons that feel that it should be added to the voters registry, they can approach the court and ask for that permission. And then once we receive that decision from the court, then we will add them to the voters registry. Now, because of the specific situation that we were placed in St. Martin after both hurricanes, we have decided to make that extra effort and have substations within the country where persons can actually go and collect their voting cards. Now, as you know, previous elections, we would only have done it via the postal services, but the postal services itself has also sustained a lot of damages. So they were not able to accommodate that volume of voting cards as well, in addition to the regular posts that they have on a daily basis. So the Postal Service we reached out to, and that was the information that we got. And we figured that, you know what, we need to be able to exude the necessary effort in order to accommodate persons that have been displaced as a result of the hurricane. Not only displaced persons that no longer have a house, but also persons that may have a house but don't have a mailbox. So it was decided to have those 4 substations in the country, and persons, they could have gone there if they know that they're displaced, that they could have gone to one of those substations, and it was indicated exactly which substation that you would have had to go to, and they could have collected their voting cards. Now, that was one option. Then you had the other option, which is the Postal Services. The Postal Services delivered a number of voting cards, which was quite a good bit. And indeed, as you mentioned, Ricardo, that it was approximately 2,200 voting cards that were returned. Now, it sounds a lot, 2,200, but it is not, the number does not differ much from the amount of cards that were returned in the 2016 election once the Postal Service did distribute them. So the amount of cards that were returned this year is similar to the amount of 2016. In answer to your question as to what will take place then, as we have mentioned during different radio interviews but also different ads, that persons that have not received their voting cards 8 days prior to election, so as of now, as we speak, they can proceed to the civil registry, and that's in the new government building. They can collect their voting card at the civil registry. The civil registry is open until 7 p.m. on a daily basis now, and on Saturday, they can even do that up until 1 p.m. Excuse me. And also on the date of election, they can go to the polling station and actually collect a voting card, their voting card. And but we do encourage persons as much as possible for the coming days to go to the census office and collect their voting card as opposed to the polling station, because then it will be, if you're going to collect your voting card at the polling station, the day of the polling station itself, then it could be a little bit of a, a delay in the sense of the getting your voting cards. Because what happened is that the voters registry is by number, not alphabetically. So therefore, once you don't have your voting card and you go out to the polling station to get your voting card, they would have to look through that voters registry, and per district you have a maximum of approximately 1,500. So they would have to go through that whole one in order to identify your name. So how it will happen is that once you go there, if you don't have your voting card, then the person at the polling station will call the headquarters at the civil registry and find out, well, listen, is Ricardo Williams, is he an eligible voter? Then the civil registry will call you back will stay on the line and tell you right away, yes, he's an eligible voter, and then they will check there indeed, because then it's quicker, and they will give you the number on this in the voters registry that they have there, and they will then verify if that is so, and they will see if your identification indeed corresponds with the information that they have, as they will check your picture to see if it's the person itself. So that opportunity is given. It will take a little bit longer. Of course, we have told them, try to facilitate them as much as possible, and they will too. But we would like to encourage persons as much as possible to still go to the civil registry today, tomorrow, and Saturday and collect your voting cards.